Your band has been existing for 35 years, and your first name was Septic Broiler. Could you tell us about these adventures?
The Septic Broiler Adventures, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was just, I mean, that was just a group of friends that wanted to, they listen a lot to music and had different influences that really wanted to, to, um, to try to do it themselves. I mean, back then, I wasn't in a band back then, but they were 16 years old. And as you can imagine, a group of 16 years old that just buy some instruments and starts playing is going to sound pretty crappy in the beginning. But the good thing was that there was a lot of people in the same area that was doing the same thing. So in the same area, you have the people from At the Gates. So they were called Grotesque back then. There was a lot of people that were playing music. It was a vibrant scene here in Gothenburg. So everyone was kind of discussing their influences, and there was a local scene where everyone also could try to do live shows. And all of a sudden, that kind of took off, and it started to become real band. Septic Broiler became Dark Tranquility, and I mean, Grotesque became At the Gates, and then In Flames came, and I mean, it was a lot of stuff happening at the same time, and that's also a time where I started to know all the people personally from my perspective. I started hanging around with them in beginning of the 90s. I joined the band in 98. But it was a great time to kind of see everyone take off. Uh, when someone says that I have an idea for an album, and like the next year that album is out and they're out touring, so it felt like anything was possible for this group of people. So it was really cool to see, and also the kind of friendships that existed between the bands that is still there, because it's basically the same people, but we're meeting each other on festivals or on tours now, and sometimes in Gothenburg as well. So yeah, it was a great time for music. Septic Broiler.
Mm, okay. Um, Now about the upcoming album End Time Signals. Can you tell me more about the writing process of this album?
Yeah, of course. Well, we started writing in 2022, so almost 2 years ago we started to write the album. Uh, and a lot of things had happened then, because we had some member changes in the band. Uh, we used to be this very steady lineup for decades. It was me, Martin, Nicholas, Anders, and Michael. We were the same band for 20 years, 25 years. And all of a sudden, people, as we came further down in our career and we got older, some people were kind of done with it and they didn't want to tour anymore. And that's really a hard thing, because it's like you're in a relationship with your friends, that someone's going to leave the relationship. So that was hard. And also we are living in kind of times that are hard, because we went through a pandemic together. Everyone did. And we're living now in a world where no matter where you are on the political spectrum, we never had a harder time to understand each other than we have now. We have a war close to Europe, and so it's a very different time. So when we were sitting down 2 years ago and discussing what kind of album we wanted to make, it was me and Michael and Johan. We felt that we needed to make something that was a bit darker, and something that felt serious to us, that felt appropriate in this time that we're living in. So that's what we set out to do. And our process is, we start working on some material. It was me and Johan who wrote the music, so we both had some material, and we started to meet up. He lives in the south of Sweden, and then I live in Gothenburg. So one week I would go down to him, and the next week he would come up to me. We went back and forth like this for a year. And then Michael started to kind of uh, to come in with the lyrics. And since we've already talked about the themes, that the themes are the times that we're living in. We're talking about loss, We've lost friends to illnesses, and we're talking about the pandemic that everyone have to live through, and we're talking about the new world that we are facing together. So yeah, that's kind of the first stepping stone for End Time Signals. It's this environment. Yeah, so it turned out to be this darker, but still kind of varied album.
And you talked about these concepts. Um, can we consider it a concept album? There is a red link between the songs.
I think so. I mean, it's I don't know if you met Michael, or I mean, you've probably seen him sometime, but he's a very optimistic guy, and he's like positive. He has a positive outlook on life, and it's, I mean, very pleasant and easygoing. But even him was kind of depressed at this time. I mean, the way he describes his work with lyrics was that it was kind of therapeutic for him, that he needed to write about everything that's going on. So, I mean, the lyrical themes are whatever is in our whole environment, not in his personal life. Well, we have personal loss as a band, but it is this new landscape that we're facing together. That's a theme. And the way I interpret the name End Time Signals, it's not a prophecy. It's not that this is the end, but I think we are seeing signs of things that could be an end. And I think that we need to be careful about our next steps, the next 10 years. So it's more like an alarm or a warning than prophecy. I think, I mean, we always, people and humanity is always going to bounce back. We're gonna make it, but I think we need to be careful for a while to do
Yeah.
the right things again. And
And
I guess that's the theme of the
yeah.
album.
So let's talk about the artwork. I find it quite enigmatic. Could you explain it a little?
Yeah, and I mean, if you consider what the theme that we were talking about for making the music and the lyrics, that we were talking about this bleak world that we're living in right now, and that we have to be careful the next 10 years to see, so we don't end up somewhere else. Then when we were discussing these themes with Nicholas, who is doing our artwork, and he was coming up with this kind of conceptual view of how such a world would feel, how it would feel if we had to restart everything. So this ended up with this kind of symbolic post-apocalyptic society where I don't know how many pictures you've seen from it, but there's some views in the video of The Last Imaginations. You see some different things that they're going to be on the album. So this is kind of humanity in a symbolic post-apocalyptic universe where everything went wrong, kind of needing to relearn how to live together again. So there's a picture of us where they are selecting a leader for the group. There's a picture of where they're meeting another group that they don't know. Are they scared, or are they gonna work together with that group? It's a picture where they're trying to build a rocket. Like, about are we still going to try to make things in a scenario like that? So it's a symbolic universe of where we could end up.
Mm. And about The Last Imagination, can you tell us who made this clip, who directed this clip, and how this collaboration went like?
Do you mean a video clip?
Yeah.
Well, the video clip is made by Nicholas, who made the album. So we were discussing, I think we were discussing the album art, uh, the most thorough discussions we had so far of any album. So we were really clear of what kind of visuals we wanted for the album. So The Last Imagination is representation of like the album cover, and the album cover is a representation of the music. So yeah, he took his art and just animated it so it would work with the music.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the second single, Unforgivable?
Yeah. So with this album, I think what we wanted to do with the new members, we wanted to have a kind of varied album. We wanted to explore all territories that we've visited before with Dark Tranquility. We wanted to do the moody songs like The Last Imagination. So we did some ballads, but we also really fast songs to kind of revisit the past of Dark Tranquility. And Unforgivable is one of them. And but so that's why we decided to have it as a second single to kind of let everyone know that this kind of music is also on the menu. You can also expect this. So we wanted to show that kind of early, and then we thought it would fit to kind of show the band as we usually are in our when we work, that we're traveling, we're going to different places, and we're doing shows. So we had this tour in Mexico and in Turkey. So we did the video on tour. All the close-ups we did on the video was we rented a conference room in a hotel in Mexico and had a green screen, and then it was Nicholas who did this video as well. We had a photographer, Linda, who she was with us for the whole trip, and then we were so even the close-ups we did on tour in a conference room. So we started making the video on tour in South America, and we got to see the video as well still on tour. So that was kind of cool. But it's our old guitarist Nicholas who makes this.
Mm. The 27th of June, I'm gonna see you in live for the second time at the Hellfest.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, I will saw you
nice.
at the little gig with Amorphis and Udovati like
Okay,
two
Lil.
years
Yeah, okay.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
remember.
can we expect something special for the album promotion at the Hellfest gig?
Yes, you can. We're gonna play new songs, and we're gonna play a song that you haven't heard yet,
Mm.
but you probably will by Hellfest.
Okay. And in November, you're coming to Belgium with Montspel, Wolf Art, and Erase. Can we expect a special show like an entire album playing show?
We're not gonna do an entire album, but what we've done lately, like I said, with our music on the new album, we were also looking to the past and seeing what we've done before as a band. And um, okay, it was the first time you saw us in Lille, but then we in on that tour we played two songs that we had never played before. We played we played a song called "Hours Passed in Exile" and "Cathode Ray Sunshine," and those songs we had never played before, and we really enjoyed that. So right now we are rehearsing more songs that Dark Tranquility fans have never heard live before. So there's going to be surprises in the set list. We're going to mix the set list up, so it's going to be different every show. But there's not going to be, because the last 10 years we've been traveling around with more of a like a greatest hit set. But now we're going to mix it up more, and so I'll say expect the unexpected on that.
Mm. Okay. And what gave you the will to do music?
You know, for me personally, it was one of my earliest memories was that I wanted to be a musician. So I really never thought about anything else in my life. I thought actually the first time I decided to be a musician is stupid, but I was 5 years old and I heard the Kiss Alive 2, that Kiss band, and that the live album, and I decided that drums was the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to become a drummer. But yeah, that's not what I did. But after, but I was very drawn into music, and I was always very fascinated about music since then. So I never really, and probably it's a stupid thing, but I never even considered another career than music after that.
Mm. And what is your favorite album at the moment?
At the moment, let's see. Yeah, well, I'm listening to an old album now. It's but it's called Fever Ray by an artist called Fever Ray. It's a solo album, and it was her first one. That's my
Mm,
favorite album right now.
okay. So thank you so much for this interview. Can you tell us your last words for listeners?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for listening to our music and supporting the band for so many years. Uh, I mean, we're just done with the album and we released 2 videos, and we're really excited to share more of the album. And we can't wait to show the whole thing and come out touring with you. And with all these surprises of old songs, new songs, I think we're gonna have a good time, some shows together. So come out and see us, and let's hang.